Welcome everyone to Numerical Gems. Tonight we're going to look at eating bread. There's a custom that when we eat bread, after we make the blessing, that we dip it in salt 3 times. So let's look at numerically what that means. So first of all, the numerical value of bread, lechem, equals 78. Therefore, if we're dipping 3 times, 78 divided by 3 equals 26. 26 is the numerical value of the 4-letter name of God, the Tetragrammaton. Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey equals 26. So when we dip it 3 times, the kavana, the intent, is that we should always remember that our sustenance ultimately is coming from God. That's why in the after blessing that we say, grace after meals, when we bench, the first blessing ends, Hazan et hakol. We bless God who provides for everyone, for every living thing. And so by dipping 3 times, 26 times 3, it's a reminder that eating is not just an animalistic, physical need, which of course it is, but that we should lift it up by washing our hands ritually before we eat bread, saying a blessing, making sure the food is kosher, saying an after blessing. We raise up eating to be a spiritual experience. We dip in salt. We dip the bread 3 times in salt. And it turns out that the word for salt in Hebrew, melach, is the exact same letters as lechem, except permuted differently. So here is just a beautiful connection with the custom of dipping 3 times in salt. Now the reason we do that is because in the temple, when we would bring an offering to the altar, it was always accompanied by salt. And as I said before, we want to turn our eating into a spiritual experience. Therefore, our table is compared to the altar, and the food that we eat is like consuming an offering. And that's why we say blessings before and after. And the salt is to remind us that we should maintain a spiritual consciousness while eating. There's another word that has the same letters, same root letters as lechem and melach. And that is the 3-letter root for dream, chalom. Chalom is usually written with a vav, but the root of that word to dream is chet lamed mem. So here we have 3 words that have the same letters, lechem, melach, and chalom. And so a saying was created that says some people fight. I have to mention that in Hebrew the word for like a soldier, a fighter, is a lochem. It's the root of the word for war, milchama. So the saying is, some people fight for bread. In other words, nations fight nations over power, over money, over territory, which is symbolized by bread. Some people fight over bread. Some people fight to realize their dreams. So here, all four words have the same root. Lechem, bread, melach, salt, dream, chalom, and lochem, to fight. So returning to this idea of dipping 3 times, another beautiful kavana is a verse in the book of Deuteronomy, in Devarim, that says, man does not live by bread alone, rather from every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. And this is connected to this idea in Pirkei Avot. Im ein lechem, ein Torah. If there's no flour, there's no Torah. Meaning, it's very, very hard to study and observe mitzvot if someone is hungry or starving, God forbid. So if im ein kemach, ein lechem. But then they turn it around. Im ein Torah, ein kemach. If there's no Torah, then there's no flour either to make bread. Meaning that without a spiritual base in one's life, then we're not connected to the bracha of Hazanet HaKol, that God provides for everyone. There's a beautiful prophecy from the prophet Amos in the 8th chapter of Amos. And it's very relevant to today. The prophet Amos says, days are coming, says God, I will send a famine in the land, but it will not be a famine for bread, and it will not be a thirst for water, but rather to hear the word of God. And Reb Shlomo Carlebach made up a very, very famous song to these very words. And he really loved this song because he felt it had to do with our generation, the time we're living in, where we have so much materialism, so much physicality. And yet people are hungry for meaning in life, for a sense of purpose, to be part of something greater than just the pursuit of livelihood and materialism. The world is truly hungry for something better, something spiritual, something godly and holy. So may we all be blessed, first of all, to always have bread to eat. Bread is the staff of life. It represents all sustenance. But even more than that we should all have a sense of purpose in life, have a sense of mission. And there's no doubt that the Torah gives us, the Jewish people, a sense of mission, a sense of purpose, and a sense of being part of something much, much greater than the individual. May we all feel that and experience that.